Scott Weiland began having severe drug issues around this time. He just could not stop using no matter how hard he tried, so he eventually gave up trying to quit. In 1995, he was arrested for possession of cocaine and heroin and ended up going to rehab. While on paper, rehab should have been a positive thing for Weiland, it ultimately did little to help his problem. This led to the first of many brief hiatuses for the band, but they got back together shortly after to begin recording. While Weiland was away, the other three members of STP formed a new band with singer Dave Coates. This led to a meeting between the DeLeo brothers and Weiland to decide which of their material would go on the next STP album and which would go on the Talk Show album, the name of their new band and the only release of the band's catalog. By fall of 1995, recording was underway for the material on the next STP album. The album cover is just a bunch of stuff thrown together. It has a woman in a swimsuit in front of a crocodile-infested pool, and then at the very last second, Scott Weiland wanted to throw in the altar in the background. I mean, it's fine, I guess, but I just gotta ask. What? This album would be called Tiny Music, Songs from the Vatican Gift Shop. It was released on March 26, 1996, once again to critical praise, with some calling it their best album yet. The album got 3 singles: Big Bang Baby, released 3 days before the album's release on March 23rd, Trippin' on a Hole in a Paper Heart on July 2nd, and Lady Picture Show on November 6th. Despite the critical success, it is easily the lowest selling of the first 3 albums, selling just over 2 million copies, being 2 times platinum. Tiny Music is a little different than the first 2 albums. It sort of mixes an alt-rock sound with the band's usual grunge. Scott Weiland sings at a higher tone than the first 2 albums, and lyrically, most of them are what Scott Weiland called, quote, David Bowie-esque, in the regard that they usually have a little meaning. In my opinion, Tiny Music is the most up-and-down STP album quality-wise. It has a few songs that I absolutely adore, can't get enough of, and then there's some that are pretty forgettable. I've got a lot of standouts on this one: Pops Love Suicide, Tumble in the Rough, Big Bang Baby, Lady Picture Show, And So I Know, Trippin' on a Hole in a Paper Heart, Adhesive, and 7 Cage Tigers. Again, it is a lot, but the other songs are all fairly forgettable to me. Not bad, just nothing special. Big Bang Baby is a personal favorite, as well as And So I Know. Do not look up the meaning to Lady Picture Show on songfacts.com. Worst mistake of my life! This is one of my favorite songs of all time. For having such a dark subject matter, it's just so pleasant to listen to. And then there's Trippin' on a Hole in a Paper Heart, a song literally about an acid trip Scott Weiland had. It has the best bass line of any STP song. This may be my favorite STP song overall, both due to how good it actually is, as well as the memories I have of it. I remember Good Times, summer 2016 in Florida, my favorite summer ever, which I heavily associate with this song, Big Bang Baby, Interstate Love Song, and a few Rush songs I like. Tiny Music's best moments are so great, and even the lows aren't bad, just somewhat forgettable in the grand scheme of things. Like the rest of the band's catalog, people have only continued to see the brilliance in Tiny Music. In 2021, the band released the 25th anniversary edition with a live concert from the Tiny Music tour, demos, altered mixings of songs, the long version of Press Play, which is the opening song, a beautiful acoustic song called Kretz's Acoustic Song, and instrumental versions of Ride the Cliché and Adhesive. This is probably the weakest of the 3 current 25th anniversary albums, but it's still well put together. Tiny Music is still considered a classic of the band and has only aged better and better over time, a rare feat for an album of its kind.